A war pollutes the sky. Orange haze. Smoke obscuring the clouds. A Brazilian soldier is on the ground with a nearly absent mind. The sclera of his eyes, completely overhauled in a violent red. His vision doubled, spinning in a nauseating motion. The air is thick with the dreadful scent of smoke, along with the fatiguing metallic taste of blood. Shapes start to appear, and they begin shifting and warping around him. Faces and figures dancing in seamless motions as the world surrounding him progressively slips out of his focus. Everything seems to be twisting before his comprehension. All the din sounds of gunfire, blood-curdling screams, and raging fires, along with the distant rumbles of explosions, all begin to meld together into a disorienting and overbearingly unpleasant symphony. This overstimulates his sense of fear, causing him to respond in fight or flight. He tries to move, attempting to make sense of this hellish experience, but finds himself unable to do so. His limbs feel heavy and unresponsive. It is as if his body is stuck in molasses, with each movement requiring a grueling effort that leaves him gasping for breath. He was falling in and out of consciousness, and time lost all meaning. Fragments of distant and cherished memories flash before his very eyes. They begin twisting and shifting in these profoundly haunting ways that embody his anguish. They all suddenly vanish in the awful sight of deceased soldiers, some of whom were his comrades. He starts glaring at one of them with their dismembered legs lying on the ground. He can't see the gut spill, but there's no doubt it's there. Blood pools. Bug eyes. Cold flesh. Suddenly there is movement emanating around him. Then there is a subtle sensation, like the gentle sway of a boat on calm waters. He feels a rough and cold platform unyielding beneath him. He begins drifting away from the hellish mess as the platform strolls him away. He doesn't know what to make of it. All he knows is that it's dark and cold. He feels enclosed in a nightmare, one where all he can do is watch the terror that surrounds him. He begins fading out of consciousness, and all the nightmarish noises begin to fade along. Everything goes completely dark, and his sight is no longer. Just then, he feels the platform elevating in a tilt, and his body slides off. He falls, and his body lands on what feels like bodies, much like his own. Then his consciousness vanishes from reality, leaving the world with the sensation of becoming one with the deceased, as he rests on the several lifeless bodies of soldiers piled up in a trench like discarded puppets. Chapter 1. The Lucid Dream. When he first found himself lying on the ground, he could distinctly remember what had happened to him. There was this powerful jolt in his body. He remembered that it felt so profound and strong, that it couldn't be compared to anything else. When he fell to the ground, he felt numb for a few seconds. Then there was an unbearable sensation in the entire right side of his body for what felt like fire. That is all he could remember besides the little details. He remembered he was holding a gun. He remembered it was a two-handed gun, like a rifle of some sort. He also remembered being on a battlefield, but other than that, everything was just an eerie blur. After falling completely out of consciousness, there was only darkness. No sounds, no physical sensations, no sense of time or place. There was only darkness. Strangely enough, however, his consciousness was present in all this. He could recognize that there was nothing he could see, and that there was nothing he could do, until a dark beige light begins to emerge. He stares into it, and his sense of touch seems to be coming back. He feels his body, resting on the wet sensation of mud. He could almost taste it. He could smell it. It's very earthy. The light begins transforming into a wide area of haze. His vision comes back, but feels out of place. Finding his senses regained was clarifying and all, but he didn't know why. He thought he had died, Or unless he did, and this is just the afterlife. If this is the afterlife, why are there no angels or trumpets? Has Judgment Day not come? Why is there only an ominous haze and mud? In the midst of all this, a voice suddenly calls out to him, "Javier!" This voice scares him, making him check his surroundings with a frightened expression on his face. "Javier!" the voice again shouts. Suddenly he feels a hand, firmly grabbing his arm, and is trying to lift him to stand on his feet. He gets up and looks behind him. It's one of the deceased soldiers, with a gaping bullet wound in his forehead, right in between his eyes. His skin is pale with a tint of gray. "Here, take it," he spoke. The deceased soldier then hands Javier his gun, the one he remembered holding. He's utterly confused, not knowing what to make of this situation. The deceased soldier then runs off and disappeared in the haze, shouting, "Come on, keep pushing forward, go, go!" Then a gunshot is fired, as if he's still fighting in the battle, charging toward his opponents. It's unnervingly quiet for a battlefield, with only the faint sounds of gunshots being fired from all around. Javier begins to wander, feeling lost and scared. More deceased soldiers begin to appear, running past him with guns secured in their hands. It's disturbing to see them, as some of them have injuries that no human being would ever survive. One of them bears an exploded head, with chunks of flesh dangling around, along with caved-in skull fragments and a couple teeth, all while bearing no face. Javier had seen this soldier before. This deceased soldier took a shotgun to the face, and now he's here, fighting as if nothing happened. Another deceased soldier runs past Javier. This one appears to be running with a bullet wound in their chest, and it appears it went straight through, and yet they're still fighting and breathing. Javier tries to stop one of the deceased soldiers, seeking answers. "Hey," he shouts, "what's going on?" He grabs one of them by the arm. This deceased soldier appears to have been caught in a raging fire, as there is barely any skin on his face. The deceased soldier turns their head, and it sends chills down Javier's spine. "What the hell's the matter with you? Are you trying to get us killed?" the deceased soldier shouted. Javier was struck in confusion, unable to speak a word. The deceased soldier then yelled at him, screaming, "Fight!" then pushed him away, and ran off into the haze, repeating, "Fight! Fight! Fight!" Javier wondered, what is there to fight? He looked around himself, observing the area for threats, but there were none. Everything was almost calm, and all the deceased soldiers were taking that away, running and firing their guns for a battle that they had already lost. So out of curiosity, Javier began following them. With vigilance and with his gun ready to fire, he was treading lightly with the deceased soldiers, as they kept running and running into the unknown. Just then, there was a whistling sound in the distance. Javier recognized it immediately. It wasn't emanating from a person or anything similar, but rather from the dropping of a bomb. Boom! The bomb landed, and the ground rumbled in a wide radius, reaching underneath Javier's feet. The rumble wasn't strong enough for him to lose his balance, but it was sure enough to scare him. Another bomb drops in the distance and hits the ground. Boom! Then more come in, falling from the haze-shrouded sky like asteroids attempting to extinct the human race. Boom! 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 The bombs fall closer, each explosion roaring like a swarm of angry eagles. The ground trembles beneath Javier's feet, shockwaves rattling his bones as he stumbles. He wants to run, but where? Death reigns in every direction he turns to. Those lifeless soldiers who had surrounded him moments ago are gone, vanished. He's alone now, a single soul trapped in the storm of destruction. Desperation seizes him and he bolts to his right, lungs burning, heart pounding like a war drum. But there is no escape. Boom! A deafening explosion erupts just 15 feet away, the force slamming into Javier like an oncoming train. He's hurled to the ground, his vision spinning, ears ringing with a piercing shriek, but his limbs feel heavily trapped, as if gravity is working against him. Then, another bomb is dropped behind him. A shadow swallows the sky above him as it plummets toward him. Somewhere, beyond the chaos, a desperate voice cries out. A raw, pleading scream that echoes through the haze. "Lord, have mercy upon us all!" The bomb strikes. A blinding flash, a monstrous roar. The force rips through his body as mud surges over him, consuming him like a grave swallowing the dead. His senses slip away, drained into the abyss. Then, nothing. No sound. No thought. No pain. Only darkness. Suddenly, it all came back just then. All his senses, regained, as if he had never lost them. The deafening silence is gone, the numbness erased in an instant. His body, his mind, whole again. Yet, something is wrong. This is not relief. This is not natural. This is unnerving. Somehow, it becomes comforting. There is this warmth, a familiar sensation that just feels like home. Yet, there is nothing to see. It's only darkness. Darkness, and the sweet sound of a piano being played in a beautiful composition. It sounds melancholy. Javier knows this music. He heard it before, and he knows it so well. This is Cœurs entrelacés, which in English translates to intertwined hearts. This is one of Aimé Beaufort's works, a piece his wife Aurora often played. The melody begins to feel like a lifeline, pulling Javier's soul out from the darkness. Where is she? He can hear her playing the piano, but she's not even there. The echo in each note sounds far away, yet so close. As the darkness lingers, colors start to appear in blurs, colors of blue, gold, and white. They appear in such a mesmerizing way that they're beginning to put Javier at ease. The music. Oh, the music. It's so beautiful. So much so that it could stop the world's most chaotic battle for just a minute. For just one moment, all Javier's deepest troubles gone. Just for a moment, he's at peace. He almost sheds a tear. His soul begins to sink into the music and nearly forgets everything. It's like suffering from amnesia, but in the most content way possible. The way this music was moving his soul was incredible. The fact that it made him forget everything for just a moment was so awe-striking and proved itself of its power. Shortly after that moment, his memories came flooding back and remembered horrible things. There is a war, a terrible, terrible war. From a series of betrayals and cruelty to the cold heart of dictatorship and the venom of Spanish propaganda. The horrors he has seen, oh God, the horrors, how it is seared into his mind like a brand of eternal torment. Soldiers consumed by fire, their bodies writhing, their flesh melting into the battlefield's cruel embrace. Oh, how the air choked with the scent of burning men, the ground slick with blood and entrails. Explosions, deafening, relentless, ripping through flesh and bone, sending limbs soaring like grotesque birds across the ruined land. The very earth trembles beneath the thunder of war. Oh, and the screams. Lord have mercy, the screams. They echo in his skull, a song of agony that never fades. They weep in terror, in pain, in the final desperate cries of those who will never return home. Their voices claw at his soul, relentless, unending, a symphony of suffering that will haunt him forever. Javier's heart suddenly drowns in guilt, reminding himself of the blood he has shed, the lives he's taken. It's all too much. He remembers the faces of fallen soldiers, with their eyes full of fear and desperation. All the families he has torn apart, just with the simple pull of a trigger. It feels even worse knowing that those soldiers were most likely of good heart. They didn't have a choice. They were enforced. Javier is no different. He was once a warm-hearted man, building a future with his beloved wife, thriving off of their undying love with the good promises of marriage, as if God himself was writing their love story. But now, he stands in the midst of the horrors of war. His hands no longer bear a gentle warmth, and instead are burdened with blood and guilt, never seeming to stop trembling. His whole being has been altered by this war, and his eyes always seem to pierce through the souls of others. Why? Why me? He whispers in sorrow. He sulks in this strange moment, feeling his heart flooding with remorse. Just then, he felt his own body resting on a poor, thin mattress. He feels like a sloth. The darkness slowly fades as well as the colors, and Javier finds himself inside a military medical tent as he lies on a gurney, staring up at the ceiling. As he feels like a sloth, so is he laying like one, with one arm hanging off the gurney along with one of his legs. He feels groggy, with a throbbing headache lingering inside him. He slowly turns his head to look around, expecting to see other gurneys, occupied by wounded soldiers. He sees several gurneys, all of which are empty, and every one of them is almost completely stained in blood. Old blood. "Doctor?" Javier called out. He laid there in silence for a moment, expecting someone to attend to his needs, yet no one was there. How odd. There should be someone there, right? There must be. Surely a medical technician is there, or if not, a nurse. Someone must be there. "Doctor?" Javier again calls. "Nurse? Anybody?" This tent he lies in, it's immensely eerie. It's quiet. The silence is oppressive and heavy. The emptiness of this place. It screams louder than the battlefield ever did. Where is he? What is this place?